name is Professor Digolo, former Dean of the School of Education, University of Nairobi. I was hired by the university way back in 1988 to teach in the School of Education. When I was hired in 1988, I came in as a senior lecturer in the Department of Educational Communication and Technology to teach various courses. And I was appointed in September 1989 as Dean of the School of Education. And that found when I was already appointed as chairman. The chairman had been appointed earlier in March. So I worked as the dean, acting dean of the School of Education in 1989 up to 1993. So in 1993, I now ceased to be chairman, and I just remained dean. And my role was, as a dean, was to ensure that the programs of the School of Education were done. Then the second role, which was for the dean, was to ensure that the program was running. So I had admitted students into the program. And at that time, we admitted about 400 students in the first batch. And then the third one was to get members of staff who could teach the program. So at the time, we were very few. The total number of staff in the school, the entire school at that time, were 18. These 18, 6 were in the Department of Education, Admin and Planning, 4 were in the Department of Education, Communication and Technology, and 4 were in the Department of Educational Foundations. And educational psychology was in the School of Social Sciences, but they taught for us. So the number was very small, 4 lecturers in the department. One of the roles of the dean was to ensure that we recruited more staff, and we had to recruit qualified staff. So we advertised and we even poached from Kenyatta University. With the staff and with the program and with the students, the school was now ready to run on. And the role of the dean was to administer, ensure that the students are taught and examined. And I did that from 1989 up to the year 2000 when I handed over to Professor Kimani, who became the new dean at that time. Now, when we started at the College of Education in 1988, the college had 3 faculties: the Faculty of Education, Faculty of External Studies, and Faculty of Social Sciences. Now, I was the dean of the Faculty of Education, but the Faculty of Social Sciences was headed by Professor Clement Onyango, and then the School of External Studies was administered by Mr. Odumbe. There was a reshuffle and amalgamation after some years. There must have been around, can't remember the year now, but I think around 2005, after about 10 years, or 15 years, the university did away with the School of Social Sciences. All the departments that were under that school were taken to main campus and to the other colleges where they belonged. And we remained only with the 2 faculties in the college. And these were the Faculty of Education and Faculty of External Studies. There are certain things which I started. One, we made sure that lecturers were very much engaged in research and publications. Also, we encouraged the lecturers to go out for conferences and seminars that were advertised in the university, outside the country, anywhere in the world. And quite a number of lecturers traveled to deliver papers, read their papers in international learned conferences. And this inspired us to start a journal. So we started the Journal of the School of Education. And I have a copy of the journal which was started during the time. This was the first publication of that journal. And by the time I was leaving, this was the one that was there. This was, if you can see it very clearly, it was called the Fountain Journal of the School of Education. This was important for us because lecturers must dialogue. Lecturers must discuss issues. Academics must base their research on issues that are facing the country, and the findings should be disseminated to fellow scholars. And a way of dissemination is through seminars or through we have established academic tradition in the School of Education. The school has expanded. When we started, we had 18 lecturers in the whole school. Now we have almost 100. The Department of Education, Communication and Technology, which had only 4 lecturers in 1988, now has 23 lecturers. And I believe that the Department of Education, Admin and Planning has another 20. Some educational foundations has about 20. And then we have also the physical education now. We have expanded. Now all of them are very much engaged in academic work, not just teaching. Teaching is our basic work, but you have to go beyond that do research and publish. We have established a tradition where we invite resource persons, people who are very much established in their areas in the world where they work out there, to come and address the university students and staff. We have also gone ahead and come up with our own conference. Now we have an annual conference, which we this year we held the third conference. And these conferences we get lecturers and participants from all over Africa and from all over the world. And they come and they discuss with us, and we end up publishing some of the work they have done. We have even proceedings which have come from some of those conferences. And I think this one, to me, that is a great achievement, and I expect that we are going to have more conferences and more proceedings coming out. When the university was realizing that it lacked revenue, the university introduced Module 2 programs. The Module 2 programs went ahead with the policy of the university generating its own income beyond what government was providing, because it was not adequate. So in 1998, the School of Education admitted the first batch of students in Module 2 programs. It was very exciting at that time, because for the first time we had students that we were teaching in the evening, and we were teaching them during the holidays. When we got the teachers during holidays, we called them to the university and we provided them with direct lectures. These were not distance education, they were direct, face-to-face teaching. And the university generated a lot of income. I think we contributed well over 3 million every year to the coffers of the university. And this went on from 1998, 99, all the way to the present. Another thing I would like to say is within the period we were working I was a dean, was on the side of staff, academic staff that we recruited. Many of them had not worked in the university as lecturers. Quite a number of them needed training and needed to be sent out of the university to go and get higher degrees. The School of Education worked on staff training program, which encouraged lecturers to go for their PhDs. Those who didn't have PhDs to go for PhD in the department, in the school and abroad. So a lot of them benefited from, especially Commonwealth training, scholarships, and then the bilateral scholarships that we established. But quite a number of them are also trained within the school. So as I talk today, majority of our lecturers are now holders of PhDs. When we were starting in 1988, every department had just people who are called doctors, and senior lecturer was the highest academic level. Today, I can see that we have over 12 full professors now are around 10. The Department of Education, Administration and Planning has 2 full professors. Educational Administration and Educational Communication and Technology has 2 full professors and several associates, 6 of them in education and Comtech. And the rest of the people seem to be all senior lecturers. Very few are now lecturers and tutorial fellows. And this is what it is in the university. When you are hired in the university, you are given an opportunity to work hard and improve yourself. So staff training was something we did. As a school, we went beyond that. The School of Education was requested by the University of Nairobi to come up with an in-service training for all lecturers in the university. And I was appointed in the year 2005 by the then Vice Chancellor to develop a program for staff training, and we were calling it training in pedagogy. So from the year 2005 up to the year 2008, the Department of Educational Communication and Technology program was led by myself, Professor Digolo. We went ahead and came up with that program. 005, whenever the university needed the training of all members of staff in the university, because majority of people who are hired in the university normally are academics. They are scholars in their own rights. They have their bachelor's, master's and PhD degrees, but they had never been trained as teachers or as lecturers. So we were to train them, to give them skills in pedagogy, which means skill in delivery of lectures, skill in examining students, techniques and of setting papers, and ensuring papers are moderated, and ensure that the marking is done against a marking scheme, and that the marks awarded are objective. So we had to train them on delivery of lectures, and we had to train them on the process of assessment and evaluation. So we did this from the year 2005, and 2008 we had gone to all faculties, all schools in the university. We started with the Faculty of Arts and went round and finished at the Faculty of Medicine, where the doctors were all trained in this. Then that program ended in the year 2008. But recently, in the year 2015, the Vice Chancellor at the time was Professor Bithi, was a Deputy Vice Chancellor when we were doing the
training, the initial training in 2005 to 2008. Now, when he became Vice Chancellor, he said, we did a good job, and can we now do it in a more structured way? Then he appointed me as the director, and he asked me to establish a center which was now called Center for Pedagogy and Andragogy, which is now called CEPA. With this new structure in the university, was charged with the responsibility of training lecturers into this field of pedagogy. The most important thing what we need to recognize in staff training is that the university benefited a lot by cost saving. Instead of getting resource persons and organizations from outside there to come and be paid money to train us, we did it in-house. And it was a big cost saving for the university. Another thing I would like to highlight is the actual financial contribution of the School of Education to the development of projects in the University of Nairobi. Since the School of Education attracted very many students, we generated income in a very big way. We hugely raised money for the university. And this money has helped the university has helped the university as part of the contribution, not full contribution, but as part of contribution, to acquire a building in Mombasa and Kisumu campus, their campuses. The Mombasa campus is now housed in a university owned by the University of Nairobi. Kisumu campus, which I'm told costed around 35 million to build. The bigger contribution came from the University of Nairobi because it was already our extramural center. And when you come to Nairobi, Kenya Science campus, when we got it, we found that the facilities were meant for training training teachers up to S1 level, diploma level. For the university to raise it to the graduate training level, the university spent over 400 million to put up a modern hall for lectures and put up 3 other laboratories for physics, for chemistry, and for biology. So one striking thing that we noted when we went there, and which I remember up to today, when we got to Kikuyu campus to start the Bachelor of Education program in October 1988, we had about 400 students. And these students, there were no enough rooms for them to be taught. We just had one room which we called the lecture theater, which is still there next to the old library. That old library was the library. Dr. Arthur Kemoli, he used to teach most of his programs under the trees. The trees were where we have now the lecture hall between when you were getting out of the college. There were very many big trees there. We used to teach under trees. So one day the Vice Chancellor came, Professor Philip Mbithi and Professor Frederick Onyango, and said he had come to see it by himself. Is it really true that at Kikuyu campus, his university students are being taught under trees? And fortunately, he found Dr. Arthur Kemoli with students under trees. He looked looked around and he said, that cannot be. Then he went to the class, and what they saw, Kemoli was very active teaching. Onyango stood there with his hands holding at the back, and Mbithi reclined on his vehicle, stood and reclined on the vehicle and kept on looking at them. And when the class came to the end, they went to the principal's office to discuss. We don't know what they talked about, but he was faced with the reality that Kikuyu campus did not have facilities. We have started with about 400 students who are a Bachelor of Education in residence, and the following year we are admitting another group. That is when he went to start planning for that college, and we managed to get more buildings. Then came in the first striking thing which came in, which I think propelled me to become a dean. The Kikuyu campus, the first strike that took place, where the students just boycotted their meals and went and ganged up in what we were calling the quadrangle or the square within the School of Education near the principal's office, and started shouting at the acting dean at that time, Dr. Otieno Joey. He was an acting dean. The whole thing became very hostile, and they started telling him we cannot eat what kind of food we are getting in the halls. We want meat, which they were calling meatballs. They became violent, and then the Vice Chancellor heard that there was a strike in Kikuyu, and within that same day, I was appointed the acting dean. I would like one thing to say. After serving the university for all these years, and having been a member of staff, having been a member of the community, I'd like to say one thing, that I have served this university in very many capacities. So I know it in and out. I've served it as a lecturer, I've served it as chairman of the department for 11 to 13 years. I have served it as a dean for 11 years, and I have served as the director of SEPA for 3 years. Then, within those positions I had, I was engaged in various committees. And when I look at the university, I have served in almost every committee except WASP. And I think the vice chancellors I have worked with have been very appreciative of the contribution I have made. In appreciation that the University of Nairobi is a great university, had been headed by great personalities, and I would wish to thank the university on my own behalf for the roles the university gave me to play and the contribution I have been able to make. And I must also thank the university staff and all academic and non-academic staff. You cannot succeed in this university without a collaboration. People must be ready to help you to succeed. So all the people that I have worked with in various positions and various places to enable me to have made what I did. So I have to thank the university for that, thank members of staff, thank students for having cooperated very well, and I would want to say that this is a great university. Let all of us join hands to make it great and take it to greater heights.